Freedom is rarely given, it is earned, and often obscured in the mists of history. And when it is hidden, it must be brought back into the light. I am Stephen Finley Archer, and this is the Freedom and Democracy Road. If these stories matter, I'll show you how to begin them at the end. It's good to be with you again on the road to freedom and democracy. When I first began reading seriously about Ireland's struggle for independence, I expected to be drawn into the dramatic events, the uprisings, the conflict, the turning points. Instead, I found myself returning to something quieter, the words. The Easter Rising Proclamation of 1916 did not read like a battlefield order. It read like a moral statement written by educators, by poets, by men who believed that words and the beliefs behind them mattered. And that struck me. And that realization took me back further to another declaration written in uncertain times, the American Declaration of Independence, not written by soldiers in the field, but by men trained in law, philosophy, and public life. Again, words and the beliefs behind them. In both 1776 and 1916, ordinary men did something profoundly civic. Before they had authority, before they had victory, they articulated what they believed a society ought to be. They chose their words carefully. The American Declaration begins not with anger, but with reasoning. When in the course of human events, it speaks of a decent respect to the opinions of mankind. And then we hold these truths to be self-evident. This is not the language of rage. It is the language of explanation. The Irish Proclamation opens differently, but with equal care. Irish men and Irish women. An inclusive beginning. And later, cherishing all the children of the nation equally. That is not a command. It's a moral aspiration. Both documents were written not from positions of control, but from positions of conviction. They were attempts to define what a free people believed they owed one another. Of course, words alone did not bring independence. Both nations endured hardship and sacrifice. None of the Irishmen who signed those documents would live to see the outcome, nor would some of the American patriots. But what interests me here is what came before the struggle, the careful articulation of belief. Neither document brought immediate success, and yet, in time, the independence they described did take form. The words endured. They did not eliminate division, but they gave direction in divided moments. Language can inflame or it can clarify. These declarations attempted to clarify. They did not pretend everyone agreed, but they defined the principles by which disagreement would be judged. And perhaps that is the quiet civic lesson. As societies and technologies evolve, conditions change. Divisions, sometimes even ruptures, occur, and yet the wisdom of those earlier voices remains. The bedrock principles remain, even as they require careful adjustment over time. At every stage of a democracy, people must reevaluate who they are together before they decide what to do. And once that decision is made, the harder task begins. Not marching in perfect agreement, but remaining on the road together. Disagreeing at times, adjusting course, but refusing to abandon the shared path. Because the road only continues if we walk it together. If this way of looking at things resonates with you, you're welcome to like this video, subscribe, and follow the road. Before we finish, I want to notice a small moment from our own time. Not a crisis, not an uprising, but a local gathering of concerned citizens. Recently, a constitutional lawyer met a group of neighbors to talk about something written long ago. The structure of government defined in the American Constitution. They spoke about its relevance today, its built-in safeguards, the role of the judiciary, the possibility of amendment, and the quiet wisdom of words written in 1787. It was not dramatic, there were no headlines, but something important was taking place. People returning to first principles, taking the time to understand what those words mean before deciding what to do. More of us might benefit from doing some of that. Words before action. Declarations do not change history by themselves, but they clarify what people believe they owe one another. This week you may notice a moment when people chose their words carefully in public life. Not to inflame, but to define. Not to divide, but to clarify. If you do, take note of it. That too is part of the road. Thank you for walking a little of the road with me today. If you'd like to continue along the road, you're welcome to subscribe and like this video if it speaks to you. If you'd like to begin my story, you'll find a complimentary, personally signed copy of Searchers in the description below. In our next episode, we'll look at what people often misunderstand about revolutions. Until next time, stay on the road to freedom and democracy, because this path only continues if we walk it together. Thank you.